Today is May 23rd, 2020. We've kind of got the tiger by the tail. There's a lot we need to go through, and everything is starting to look pretty happy in the garden except the okra, and I need to replant the okra. I think that cold weather we had may have taken out some of the little ones, but anyway, I think I'm going to replant it anyway and see what happens. We're in the greenhouse. Let me point out I've got 2 cups of these butternut squash that are sprouting. Yesterday I was able to give away a cupful. You know, there was probably 6 plants. I took a road trip down to Springfield and ran into a cousin-in-law. But anyway, so I was able to give away some plants, and that was awesome because she hadn't started. And look at this. These are marigolds. So I got another batch of marigolds coming up in the greenhouse, and also here, look at that. These are all marigolds. The key to getting marigolds to grow, I found, is putting them in vertical with the pointy end up. You put the solid end down. And again, you guys seen these before. I haven't gotten to, but look at that. These are all orange peppers, bell peppers. So I need to plant those up. And now look at this. This is something, can you see that? These are all flowers. These are beautiful flowers. And I put a whole bunch of seeds in here, and it looks like a lot of them decided to sprout for me. So these all need to be potted up and planted out. But these are beautiful. These will be very beautiful flowers. So I don't do a lot of flowers, but I do a few of them. And this basil, look at that. That really has to find a home. Now basil is supposed to also be a good plant to keep, bad plants, bad insects out. So that's kind of what's happening there. Thyme, got a whole bunch of thyme. And here's the other butternut squash that I still have. These are watermelon. Now look at this one. Now, look at what that looks like. Now, so many plants look like this, but this is basil. And these are good plants. But there's other plants when they're starting to, come out, they look like this, and then you find you have a problem plant. But basil is an excellent plant to have. Now I have noticed that my wild rice experiment has failed on me, both inside the house and outside of the house. All I seem to get is, I guess it's mold growing in there. Not here, but I'm talking about inside. So I won't show you that, but I think that rice may be too old. I think if I had some virulent seeds, some just fresh picked rice, I think that would probably work. But that rice is a few years old for sure. So these guys need to find homes. These are, of course, marigolds here. But look at that. So I've got a few, and then that's about it. I did find, so those sweet potatoes, I don't know if this is the best way of doing it, but I do have a few roots there. I dug up these peach trees to pot up, but I haven't. And they've been they've been there for a few days. And it turns out people want peach trees. I was surprised. I only took one with me on my trip and gave it away. And then I had 2 other people asking for peach trees. I couldn't believe it. So I made a mistake. I've noticed that, you see that? Catnip, I'm pretty sure. Wow, that has whatever that is, it has a lime smell to it. That smells great. But it looks like catnip, but I don't think my catnip smells like that. Whatever that is. So here's where, now that should be lavender, and then the lettuces that kept getting blown over by the wind, I just planted them out in desperation. But look, and that's bok choy there, and then some bok choy at the end. My problem is I don't eat enough vegetables for everything that I've planted. So I grow them, but I don't necessarily. Anyway, oh, look at that. I got a mushroom growing in there. You see them? That's fantastic. So I dug up all of these corn, and then I had some extra, and I just came back and planted it in here. I got tired of planting the corn in the back. So maybe if these guys, if they grow for me, I may just keep them right here. And you can see nothing except weeds in here in this okra area. So I'm going to plant that again. The garlic is looking great. Now you can see that I cut the tops off of these. And those pieces, in fact, I may come and cut this off again. These are really good eating. I don't know if you guys have done that, but chop them up and microwave them a few minutes with other vegetables. They're fantastic. So this one I was going to let to go to whatever this is. It looks to be flowers, but they give them a different name, I think. But anyway, so I'm going to let that go. But these other ones, I was very surprised that these garlic tops, I'm calling them, I'm sure they have other names, are fantastic. Now the peas, look how tall they're getting. That's over 3 feet tall. It looks to be, so it's supposed to go to the top. Last year I didn't have any success getting them to climb, but this year, look at that. They're already at, well, that's getting close to 4.5 feet. So I'm surprised I don't see any pods. Oh, I do. There's one. Can you see that? So I do have some peas. So look, all those weeds I didn't quite get to, man, they took off. So anyway, and look, this garlic is starting to turn. So I understand this is when I'm supposed to pick them. So these few, now this obviously came from a different type of a bulb than those, because look at those guys, they aren't turning brown at all. You know, you have bulbs and you plant them out and then you get other bulbs. At least that's how I do. And so I have garlic planted all over the place. And these guys I need to come and plant and see what they look like. Maybe I'll do that for this video. Dig up one of these and show you. And look, the pole beans are starting. Now these are volunteer butter crunch lettuce. These, and oh, they look so happy. And I'm going to just let them stay in place. I mean, I guess a real gardener would dig them up and transplant them somewhere. But I'm kind of a make-believe gardener, I guess. But oh, look at those guys. Now there's two. You see how some, I think that must be the second sowing of the pole beans. So it looks to me that that's starting to come on, and look, it's climbing. In a few weeks, these guys are going to be to the top, at least that. And here's another one. Now I think this looks just like my catnip. Let me see if this one also has that smell. Now this one has a total different smell than that other leaf, even though I would call, well, wait a second. Well, I don't know what to make of it. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's catnip there. So the catnip seed seems to have blown around my garden somehow. And a marigold coming up. Now, I took off a couple of the leaves of this. I'm not sure which one this is. Oh, it's cauliflower. I am sure now. You see that little cauliflower in there? I've never really had cauliflower that I've grown before. But I know that you can eat the leaves. So actually they're very yummy. And this one, I'm pretty sure this is like a Brussels sprout, but I don't see anything growing in it. So I have a cauliflower. I know that red leaf is cabbage. So, but the leaves, if you guys never eat any of your cauliflower leaves, they're actually a fantastic green to me. They really are good. And of course the kale is really, I've got plenty of kale to give away and eat up. Potatoes in here. These were volunteer plants that came up for me. I don't know. They look very much like this cauliflower. So we'll see. But I let them keep growing. And then I have those right there and over there. Those are rutabagas. Now they'll get to be very big. It's like a extra large radish. But it's not. But it tastes kind of like, well, maybe a very mild radish. But they're solid. The corn. Now this is all transplanted corn. And the little bitty ones are probably the ones I just planted. But the bigger ones, you can see that they've been taking on some growth. That's awesome. Now, this week, the tomatoes actually look happy. I had somebody compliment my tomatoes last week, Matthew King on YouTube as a comment. But they didn't look so good to me last week. But now, this week, look at that. These guys are really starting to grow. And this one, and that one, and these guys went through some hard knocks. And the weeds, you see those weeds back there? Borage. So that's always fun. I'm surprised we don't see in that back around there. I have some, a couple of flowers. What are those called? Nasturtium. But they spread out. They're supposed to like places where there's not high nutrients. So the potatoes are all looking really much better. We've got some warm weather and it rained yesterday. Maybe tonight it's going to rain again. You can see how that plant is that tomato's all knocked sideways. That's from when I bagged it during the cold. I've heard it. And then I came out and planted a couple of cucumbers. So we'll see if they make it. But these are pole beans that I planted, before I planted the tomatoes. So the pole beans will come up, the tomatoes will come up, and we'll have quite a picture here in a bit. The peas are coming up, and then you can see the tomatoes are really coming up. Oh well. See, this is why I always have dandelion in my garden. They always, no matter how many I dig out, there's always more. And anyway, I do use the roots, so I shouldn't complain. And you can see how the onions are coming on. Now these mustard greens are actually very nice. Cut these up with the garlic tops and the cauliflower leaves, and very nice greens. And you can see I've been out cutting off the tops. So that's kind of what's happening here. The apple tree, wow, the Lord's blessing it. There's little apples. Now I don't know if the squirrels really take apples out of the trees. I haven't really noticed that. But my peaches, oh boy, I didn't get one last year. But I have all these peach trees from the seeds they dropped. And you can see how the mustard, I need to pull those guys. Now I have been pulling a lot of them and giving them away and eating them. And actually they're one of the nicest things I've taken out of my garden this year is the mustard. And really mustard, as you probably know, that if you grow mustard, you can dig it back into the soil as a green manure. That's normally what people do. Is you can see these two tomatoes. These were just planted out a couple days ago. You can see how the leaves are going so yellow. They were really under a lot of stress in the greenhouse. I hadn't potted them up, and no doubt they were low on nitrogen. So let's just wait. These guys, we'll see what they look like next week. But they may rebound. Any plant that once you first plant out is going to struggle to get used to the surroundings. So you don't expect too much immediately. But these other tomatoes I planted out not too long ago, you see I don't have them boxed at all. Maybe I'll have to see if I can find some cages to put around them. But they look very happy. Okay. Here, we'll go out front and I'll show you what's happening out there. I'll probably... Oh, look at that. That kale is just beautiful. It was pushing over on top of the potatoes so much I cut out a whole bunch of those leaves. And I guess you can cut... I think you can actually cut this up and freeze it. Maybe I should do that. I mean, it's a beautiful crop. I'm so happy with these pole beans. These pole beans are really awesome. You know, I called them green beans as a kid. Now, I've been putting some of this catnip in my... in fact, I need to come and harvest a bowl and dry it. But I've been putting catnip in my tea. Not today. I'm smelling it. You know? Interesting. You know, I think both of those are catnips, but that one over there I like better, close to the house. Dill. Now, I'm trying to make sure I have dill this year for pickles. Now look, you see these guys? I do not think that is, I'll know in a day or two. I do not think those are basil, even though they look so much like the basil. But look how big they are. I think I'm going to find that these are the Rose of Sharon bushes that you can't get rid of, just take over everything. And I've already harvested that a couple times this year. These are fantastic mint, chocolate mint, and I've got a whole bowl of it from the backyard today. And spearmint up there. So you can see we had some rain yesterday. I'm behind on this. I had some well, anyway, I had some insects that I was trying to kill, and then I stopped playing. And you can see the trees trying to come up. So I'm going to work on this sometime with this dirt, add in some other dirt, well, leaves and stuff, and use it to grow stuff in. You can see how the onions are coming back. I had cut off the onion tops, and that's always very nice. It looks like this cherry tree is making it. These apple trees are not. The peach trees are very strong. And look at this. This lettuce is going to bolt. It is becoming... Oh, did you guys see my first cucumber? You probably can't see it. I'll take a picture of it later. But on that cucumber plant, there's a cucumber on the other side. I should have shown you. And I actually haven't planted anything in here yet. And the peas, look how tall they are. Potatoes. These potatoes are something else. I don't add any more nutrients to them because they've grown so crazy. Now, this is a hot mustard. It's called curly mustard, but it tastes like the China mustard, you know, like the China buffet. And then here you can see a squash and some garlic, and it looks like this garlic could also be harvested. It's starting to turn a little bit brown. So cucumbers, I planted out cucumbers and other cucumbers, and I've had a number of plants die out here because of the cold. It looks like these guys are going to make it. So the onions have kept going. They're not, so I'm very happy with how this gas meter plot. I can't wait to see them start climbing up the trellis, but it'll be happening here pretty quick. And I planted out one of my early lime melons. They're called early silver lime. I've never had them before, but I have a few plants. So that one there is that, and these other ones should be cucumbers. So we'll see what happens. Now, look how happy that tomato plant is. It's really, it's going through there. They'll go sideways on you. See the branch. But anyway, and I have a whole bunch of volunteer tomatoes coming up too. Look at that. You see them? And then some of these, I already dug out about 25, but they're still coming. In fact, on that side of the fence, I have a whole 10 of them coming up from one spot. Obviously, a tomato was there. And can you see that? That's my first zucchini squash. That green squash there. So that's pretty awesome. And this is butternut. I've got these guys all over. I've got so much butternut squash all over the yard. I don't know what I'm going to do if it all starts producing. Of course, it takes a long time. The butternut squash won't be ready until August, I guess. But look how this guy's looking. He is so happy to be alive, man. And I had to cover him. I covered all these guys, but look, they've all made it. This guy's through the edge. Let's bring him in. Let us go upwards. And the peas have a hold of him. So those peas have grabbed a hold of my... So I planted in some cucumbers in here. We'll see if they make it. That's a cucumber over there by that nasturtium. So I expect the cucumber to come up the cage, and I'll have cucumbers and tomatoes right there together. Now this is one of the few tomato plants that's struggling. Look at that guy. He has never he's never rebounded really. Butternut squash. Now I kind of put that butternut squash to go upwards, trained it a little bit, and it looks like it's taken the idea. So there's like 5 butternut squashes there in these cages, and oh, that's going to be something. And then I've got butternut squash in the backyard, and you can see right through there the pole beans coming up behind the well, that's supposed to be grapes, but it might be one of those wild vines. I mean, I know, because I find a whole bunch of wild vines in the backyard, so it makes me wonder. Okay. Oh, and look, you can see the mustard has gone to seed. So I've got all this faith seed here, and you can see the fruit of the faith is this plant, mustard. But what, if you have a mustard seed faith, you can move a mountain. So let's move some mountains. So here we are in the backyard. You can see the peppers are still doing good. The cucumbers starting to climb a little bit. Look at that one. I think that's a poblano. Is that the name? Anyway, I'm so glad to see that. That's one of my favorite peppers. They're mild hot. And I see flowers. I don't see a cucumber Do I? So anyway, that's kind of what these guys are looking like. I planted these guys a few days ago, some more cucumbers and some peppers. I've got more peppers to plant out. Now this morning I came out and harvested a whole bunch of mint. It was really starting to shoot up, and you can see how tall it's getting. And I came out and I planted in a basil plant, and this is one of those melons, early silver lime melon. So I planted one of them here, and then I have two of them right here. This one from this week. Now for some reason the watermelon that I planted out a little bit early, or look at them, look how they're struggling all of a sudden. They were doing good, and then they're not looking happy. Now these ones, that one I planted out this week, the peppers I planted out. So something, see, these guys are new watermelon, but look at that one. And he had been looking so nice, and now look how he's shriveling up. That's not nice. And then I planted out two more watermelon. So I pray he comes back. So anyway, you can see I still have some room to plant some things in here. I've got some watermelon I'll plant in there. Maybe some peppers also. So that's what it's looking like here. No, I didn't plant anything. Look, mushroom, potatoes. Now I did plant that tomato and basil and a few peppers around it. And look at that. Huh. I am so proud of these. Look at that. It rained yesterday a bit, not tremendous amount, but a bit. And look, these mushrooms popped up. So I'm so proud of the mushrooms. Now that plant there, that's supposed to be garlic chive. So evidently you just cut the leaves and chop it up, but it's not, it's a flat leaf, it's not a round leaf, so I'm a little surprised by that. So anyway, that's what that, and of course the grapevine. I guess we can look closer. I hate to step in here. This is kind of my mushroom patch. I'm so proud of those mushrooms. Now you guys tell me, is that going to be grapes? Now if I get grapes, Lord bless these plants. The Lord knows that I would love to see some grapes, but these leaves look so much like the wild leaves that I find everywhere. So it throws me. And I'm not sure. I hope it can pollinate itself. If it needs another grapevine to pollinate it, then it's not going to happen. Okay, so this is mostly a mess. So here we are in the back garden. You can see the zucchini and the yellow squash seem to be doing good. The corn, well, it's still there. It's not taken off yet, but it's only been planted out a few days, and everything takes a little while to acclimate. So, but look at the squash. I like to see the flowers. Well, I prefer to see the squash also. But of course the squash come from the flowers. So there's a few of the squashes are coming on, and then the butternut squash, that one looks to be pretty happy. So I've got, looks like 5 butternut squash plants there along the fence. And look, the pumpkin. Oh, there's my, I call it a mad axe, but it's actually a Maddox. Anyway, I say it wrong, but there's an axe on one end and a digging. This is a fantastic tool. So butternut squash, I think that's a zucchini. Now look at that pumpkin. The leaves, you know, you can see that he's pausing to think. Before long, this guy's going to take off, I think. But pumpkin will, those guys will move. When it gets a little bit warmer, they're going to start to spread out. You can see pokeberries, those are poisonous. Look, pokeberries all over. So I take that Maddox and try and dig out the roots a bit, because they're a perennial. They'll come back every year. And the birds like to eat the purple seeds and spread them all over the place. So now that I'm taking down these bushes, all of a sudden, pokeberries pop up like, you know, like they were just waiting. And then you can see some other weeds back in there that really need to be taken down before they flower. Those thorn things, I don't know what you call them, but they're two tall ones back there. They'll have so many seeds all over the place. So either I cover this and do something with this area, or this will become, you know, a nightmare. You'll think, why did I cut those vines down? But I am doing something with it. One, I'm bringing in wood chips. And two, I'm bringing in grass clippings. And three, I'm planting it. So these guys are on their own pretty much. But I do look at them a little bit. But I'm so proud. And I did plant one marigold. In fact, I should come and plant marigolds all through here, because that's something. But you can see where I did plant all the corn. Maybe I didn't show you. Oh, these guys look like they're struggling. But I did come back here and plant corn all among the squashes on both sides of the fence now. And then, of course, these are just weeds coming up. And you can see the battle. The battle line is drawn. So, trouble is that there's ticks now coming out. If I'd have done this in the winter, I could have done this without ticks. But I saw some sea ticks on me the other day. And of course I get eaten by mosquitoes when I come out here to work. But that's life in Missouri. Ticks and mosquitoes. But it sure is nice to see something good happening in this area. Lord bless it. Bless these plants. And you can see my original secret garden. Now, that's mustard coming up. So mustard is a great, you know, it's a hardy plant that comes back year by year. And I don't know what's coming up. Those little green dots, that may be mustard also. But then you see the pokeberry. You see how it's invaded? And then there's that weed. Of course, I have weeds all over the place. It looks so much like the initially. So I don't know what these guys are. We'll know in a little bit, but it might be the mustard. But look at these guys. See, this guy looks so much like the what is that, catnip? But I know that one's a weed. Yep. Yeah, there's no, these guys you don't want growing. Oh well, try to pull them up. This one I should dig it up. If you don't dig it up, that will come back. Like I said, those pokeberries. Now, evidently you can eat the leaves when they're young like that, if you cook them. But anyway, you can look that up on YouTube. Like if you're stranded out in the wilderness, you eat the tops of the pokeberry leaves. You don't eat down low, or you eat the new growth. But the root, it will kill you. How you like that? And the stalk is likely to kill you too. So anyway, I don't care to eat poisonous plants myself. Well, here in America, things are starting to open up. Traffic is very busy if you drive around. The crude oil price has gotten up to what, about $34 per barrel. You know, it had been down even negative. You know, it was down at 10, 15, 20. So that's crazy. And now it's back at almost reasonable. People can almost make a profit. I think $40 a barrel and people start making a profit. So, but the traveling is going crazy. People are out everywhere right now. The fear of the pandemic is falling away, especially with the warm weather and the sunshine, and you know, the understanding that hydroxychloroquine will knock it out. So I hope this video has found you guys all in a good health and able to move around and enjoying the spring, coming close to summer. And I hope you guys are having great fun with your gardens. So, okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this update. Love you guys. Bye-bye now.